Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Saba and Safta.
And dear Mom and Dad, today is your day, of that we are glad. The places you've been, the places you'll go are so vast and so many. You've gone fast and slow, with brains in your head and shoes on your feet. You've traveled the world down many a street. You began at Bubby and Zeta's, then you were 2, but quickly moved to Coxfield as your family grew. And although Corriedale was a very comfortable home, you had the itch to travel, the world you did roam. Sometimes just you 2, sometimes 4 kids in tow. To Switzerland, England, and Belgium we'd go, and China, Cambodia, Africa too, New Zealand, Australia, to just name a few. While traveling you did, the family expanded, and frequent trips to Israel were demanded. For your children you had educated in the Zionist way, and built schools to assure that in Israel they'd stay. Though grandparents from a distance, no simcha would you miss, not a birth, nor a chag, bar mitzvah, or bris. With brains in your head and shoes on your feet, you took grandchildren traveling as a bar bat mitzvah treat. Oh, the places they went, the sights they did see, the wonderful cruises filled their hearts with glee. Bar mitzvahs became weddings, great-grandchildren were born. With traveling and simchas, now you are torn. For as the family expands, and thank God simchas multiply, so much traveling around, how much can you fly? So with brains in your head and shoes on your feet, you packed up your bags and moved to Rouvain Street.
Always your dream in Israel to live, amongst all your children to help and to give.
Your home's always open, children roam through by the bunch.
To hang out, have cookies, or get taken to lunch.
Now you're close by for us all to enjoy.
We wish you good health and nachat from every girl and boy.
May your klita go smoothly, may your dreams all come true.
May you cherish your family, may your sorrows be few.
Oh, the places you've been, the places you'll go. You'll continue to travel, of that we do know. You'll continue to travel, you'll continue to roam. But now you'll come back to Israel, your home.
When I think about what influenced me as a young girl, I have to go back to my maternal grandparents, who came to Toronto in the early 1900s. When they got themselves settled, they became very active within the Jewish community. My grandfather, Sam Cohen, was president of the College Memorial Chapel from the time it was at 331 College Street until it moved to Steeles Avenue. And while he was president, one of his responsibilities was to allocate the surplus funds. They sent monies to charities in Israel, they sent monies to charities in Toronto. And I remember how proud he was that that was his responsibility. My mother, Gertrude Zach, was president of Emunah's Haifa chapter for several years. Now that she lives in Israel, she continues on with much volunteer work. When I was a young girl, I had a very good friend who took me along to Shomer Adati. It was a very welcoming place, very vibrant and alive, and I came at a wonderful time because it was 1948 and the State of Israel had just been declared. And I remember being out on the streets dancing in front of 396 Markham Street, where the SNF was. Our children and grandchildren grew up with the volunteer ethic. And they are today involved in many aspects of volunteer work. And my grandchildren do their service for the state. We have 4 grandchildren who have already completed either Army service or Sherut Leumi. 3 of our grandchildren are serving at the present time. 4 more grandchildren will be going into the Army within the coming year. I think I can express our feelings about Neve Michael in a little poem that I wrote that I would like to read to you. Neglected, abused, rejected, molested, in darkness they come, not saying a word, subdued or aggressive, from trauma incurred, over all that they may have seen and heard. In darkness they come, how to bring forth the light, how to climb from the depths, from never-ending night. In Neve Michael, the process begins with love, with patience, with guidance. Each day they learn to trust, to feel worthy, to relate to others in a positive way. Each child receives the care that is needed, assessed by experts whose advice is heeded. The transformations are amazing, the results well known. What do we find when these children are grown? For the most part, we see well-adjusted, fine adults, contributing members of society. They maintain their ties with Neve Michael. They show their loyalty, for they recognize and appreciate that it was Neve Michael that changed their lives, that helped them learn to cope, and thus to survive.
So I grew up with the consciousness of Jewish values and the importance of chesed. When I was 13, I was given permission by my father and mother to go out Friday nights to Shomer Hadati, which became Bnei Akiva. The organization itself, Shomer Hadati, had a great influence on my life. 1948 was my bar mitzvah year. It was also the year of the establishment of the State of Israel, about the same time as my bar mitzvah. Hey Iyar for the state, and Parshas Emor for me. I spent the summer in Guelph at Hachshara, which put me in the best physical shape I'd ever been in, but also taught me that I was not cut out to be a farmer. I then went on to law school. Other important influence in my life, when I look back, was Rabbi Aaron Price. He was the Rosh Yeshiva, Yeshiva Torres Chaim, which we knew as Yeshiva's torture chamber. But having said that, he was a brilliant man who taught solid values and taught us to be civilized from Jews. Growing up in Bnei Akiva meant that you participated in all kinds of activities that were relevant to the Toronto community and to Israel. The camping, the planning, the raising of funds all came naturally. Faygie and I always believed that we put our money where our beliefs are. And the result of that was that we were active in Eitz Chaim schools. At one period of time, I was chairman of the Vada Chinuch. At other times, we then faced the question of what to do with the high school for our children. And what we believed is that we wanted a religious Zionist education. And we joined with other families, the Frankel family, the Kashitsky families, and our many friends, all under the leadership of Nachman Sokol, who I'm very happy to remind everybody about. May his memory be a blessing. And we created both Bnei Akiva schools, Openat Orot and Or Chaim. Aaron and I signed Saul Burak's contract as English principal personally to guarantee his salary. And we made sure that the money was always there. Our teachers got paid on time, and we built 2 schools of which we're tremendously proud. Faygie and I have been discussing Aliyah for many years. The children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren are an irresistible call. And as I said to Faygie, we have been saving for our old age, new. That's the reason and the timing. I accepted the honor, basically, that to be an honoree with my wife at this dinner is because she told me to. And she told me to because her friend Edie told her to, and Edie is our friend. That we greatly admire the work that Emunah does. We admire, for example, the efforts and sincerity of every person we've dealt with in the course of this campaign, and it was a pleasure to work with the people involved. This is, in a sense, part of our farewell to our community and our friends who are gathered here tonight. It's exciting to see you. We look forward to seeing you in Israel. We know you have lots of work to do here. Keep it up because we're proud of you. What do you think?
You want to wave? He wants us to wave. I'm going to take it out.
Add something, honey.
No, I have nothing to add.
Yes, sure you do. About children and the work with children. Just say something nice. This is a historic moment. My wife has said I've said it all. Therefore, I've said it all. Bye.
Yeah.